Hey, welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom,
Hey there, I'm Brandon.
and we thank you for joining us again.
Yes, we always thank you as always.
All right. We actually had a very exciting week of General Hospital this week. We had some new storylines that kind of developed and some storylines that kind of moved forward. And so we look forward to talking with you about these storylines today. Just so you know, we're talking about the week of March 2nd through March 6th of 2026. And the taping date is on March the 7th of 2026. You ready, Brandon?
I'm ready, Mom.
All right. All right, first of all, let's start with Charlie's. Charlie's, and I'll be quite honest, I have not thought much about Charlie's in quite a while, but apparently it is going to reopen soon. And so Sunny has had the restaurant slash bar fixed. And so together, Michael, Jacinda, and Sunny kind of help Christina celebrate the up and coming opening of Charlie's. And then with another storyline, Curtis and Portia, they kind of meet together and they initially wanted to sell the house. Um, they bring Trina in and they let her look at the house and they tell her together that they've made a decision to sell the house and they want her to get the things that she does want from the home. After being there for a while, Curtis realizes that he should not sell the home and he decides to give the home to Portia. And so Portia is very happy to have the home. She then later celebrates this happy home with Isaiah. Anyway, um, Willow has an opportunity in her new position in order to have a photo shoot. So in this photo shoot, she decides to take Drew with her, and she has him propped up nice and dressed so that everyone could see to see him there. Willow claimed that she brought Drew so that her constituents would actually. Willow kind of indicated that she wanted her constituents to know that Drew was kind of still there, and she wanted them to see Drew. Um, let's see. Chase and Ned actually have a discussion about Brooklyn, and then Boyle meets with Boyle meets with Laura, and he kind of continues to threaten Laura, and then he also explains why he's being held by Sidwell, and why he thinks he's kind of still under Sidwell's control. Danny gets into some trouble. Alexis, Tracy, and Jason actually have a nice little discussion with him. And so Danny, of course, then claims that he will not do what he's currently doing, and he will continue to go to school and do his homework and to come home at a reasonable hour. So that's what Danny claims. But then he goes and he meets with Charlotte a little later on. Let's see. Jordan actually thinks she's pregnant. That's a shocker for everyone. And then I've got three big storylines that I kind of want to head off separately. And so the first one that I want to talk about is Chase and Brooklyn. Chase and Brooklyn, they actually meet a young lady named Delilah. Delilah actually was passed out on the ground. And so they took her to the hospital. Delilah happens to be 7 months pregnant. When she gets to the hospital, Britt takes a look at her and realizes she has some internal injuries. And so Britt has to perform an emergency C-section. Unfortunately, Delilah dies and the baby girl lives. Um, and no one actually really knows who Delilah is. And they're not sure what is going to happen to the baby. Of course, Brooklyn's very touched by all. Brooklyn is touched by the meeting that she had with Delilah, and she does, and she feels really bad about the circumstances that have just occurred, and she is concerned about the baby and what will happen with her. Brand, did I leave anything out of that storyline?
I think that's largely the gist of it.
Okay. And then, but on the other front, I will say that Britt is the one who performed the surgery, and she is deeply affected by the effects that this young lady did pass away. And so that is storyline number one. Storyline number two, Felicia actually catches Nathan and Lulu kissing. She does question it. Lulu later tells Maxie she has feelings for Nathan. Maxie is not happy to hear this, and she does not approve and does not give her blessing um, for Lulu to move forward with dating Nathan. On the other side of things, Liesel doesn't want Nathan to be with Lulu either. She is all for Maxie, and so now we've got Nathan and Lulu out there wondering if they could ever be together. Did I leave anything out on that one, Brad?
No, but let's say there's a lot of furious people in all sorts of ways.
Yes, they sure are. All right, and the last one, another big one, is that Jocelyn actually catches Valentine at Carly's. Um, when she does catch him, Carly's not home at the time. And so she kind of takes him down and she attempts to kind of subdue him. So anyway, Carly walks in, and Carly confronts her mother and Valentine. Carly tells her mother that Carly tells Jocelyn that she knows that she's in the WSB. This kind of throws Jocelyn off for a little bit. She demands to see Carly by herself. She leaves. She leaves Valentine still tied up in the attic. And anyway, so Joss is very upset, and she and Carly have a very heated discussion. And then Carly does let it be known that Jason's the one who has told her about Jocelyn being in the WSB. And so Jocelyn leaves her mother, and she tells Carly that she has a day in order for her to get rid of Valentine. So Jocelyn goes to see Jason. She's upset with Jason too, but actually she's more reasonable with Jason than she is with her mother. And then she does blame Sonny in a lot of this. And I think Carly and Jason were both kind of confused in the fact that they don't know how far Jocelyn is going to go with that particular point. But even regardless of that, Jocelyn has the conversation with Jason, and Jason is supposed to go and speak to Carly and try at least attempt to reason with her so that Valentine can be gone. Um, but in the next scene, we see that Carly chooses Valentine. So that was the other big scene that we saw. Did I leave anything out in this one?
I don't think so.
Alrighty. Let's see. In other news, Liz and Lucas bond again. And then Sidwell actually wants to have a dinner with Carly and Lucas and the family. And Liesel actually indicates that she is leaving town. She says she's going to a medical conference. She does let her family know, so all of them are aware that she's leaving town. And I think that is it for this week, Brandon. What did I leave out?
Mom, there was so much stuff, but I think that's largely the gist. Did we mention that Kai is using his political influence to help out Gio and Emma by changing around birthdays?
Yes, I guess Kai is now the political person. But yes, I guess another other news. Trina and Kai do celebrate Kai's birthday, and Trina sings so well that that it is mentioned that maybe she should sing in Christina's new club, or at least one song. So that is what we that went on another scene. All right. Anything else?
Who really knows if it actually is Kai's birthday, but that is it, I believe.
Alrighty. All right. So let's talk about our performance of the week. I so struggled with this because there were really so many great performances this week. And it's rare for us to say that there's so many great ones. Typically, there's one or two who stand out, but there were so many this week. So I kind of wrapped my mind around three different people. And then, Brandon, you have to let me know if you agree and who you think your people are. And so for me, the first person that I thought of for Performer of the Week was really Britt. Britt, I thought, did a great job this week. She was truly the doctor, she was the professional. And then at the same time, she showed she had feeling when the young lady died. You could see her very upset about it. And so I thought her acting was on point. She went and saw Jason later and kind of said how upset she was. But then when she saw Brennan later on that week, she just went and confessed everything to Brennan. So I think that Britt to me was just did a really great job. Now Elizabeth also did a good job this week. I liked the way that Britt and Elizabeth spoke to each other. They had kind words to say. They were very sympathetic with each other, and I just liked the way they worked this week. And then the last person who I'm going to say for performer of the week is actually Jocelyn. She kind of showed a full range. And so I like seeing that when she was with her mom. I thought she did a great job acting in that particular scene. Even with Jason, I thought she did a great job acting. There were many more who did a wonderful job this week, but those are the three that stand out of the group. We'll tackle some of the others a little later. All right, Brandon, what about you?
But mom, I will largely agree with you. I mean, I know at the top of my head, I was thinking the first half of the episode definitely had to go. First half of the week definitely had to go to Britt. Second half definitely to Jocelyn, and I fully agree about Elizabeth. I fully agree with that, and I'd say for a runner-up, which I think there's quite a bit of people that could, I'd say my runner-up would be Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. I agree with Brooklyn too. All right. And then as for amusing scenes of the week, with a week that was so deep, uh, General Hospital does a good job of kind of balancing it out. And so they had a couple days in there that made us laugh out loud. And so the first scene for me is really Jason, Danny, Alexis, and Tracy talking about Danny and things that he is just doing wrong and things he needs to improve on. And then Jason also talking about who he should name as someone to care for Danny in case anything happens to him. That whole scene was hysterical. And how they actually talked about who should and should not watch Danny, I thought it was great. And so that's one of the amusing scenes of the week for me. The other one was actually Valentine, and that was just him just asking if he could be untied when he realized that Jocelyn and Carly were just kind of going at it. He was just like, "Well, could someone untie me?" And then she kind of looked over like, "No." But anyways, I got a kick out of that. And then Sidwell planning a Spencer Sidwell party. All right, and then Sidwell planning a Spencer Sidwell party just amusing in itself. So I got a kick out of that. There were some other cutesy scenes, but Bran, what about you for amusing scenes this week?
Yes, I definitely agree with those. I thought that was interesting, and that Ava will be invited to the party alongside Brendan, so I'm sure there'll be a pleasant time next week. But the Jason scene, I think, takes the cake.
Yes, it sure does. And then as for touching scenes of the week, I tell you, this week was just full of them. But of course, the overall touching scenes of the week was Brooklyn chasing Delilah, and in that circumstances that had occurred at that time, and then also Britt and Liz, um, because as I've spoken before, those scenes were very touching. So all five of the group of five, they did a great job together. All right, Brandon, what about you for touching scenes of the week?
Well, I agree with that. I think everything involving Delilah and the baby certainly get added to that list.
Alrighty. And then I added a category for you, Brandon. I have most dramatic scene of the week, and for me, the most dramatic scene was Jocelyn and Carly because yes, they argue, but they don't argue like this, and so that to me was the most dramatic scene of the week. What about you?
I agree with that, and I fully feel that Thursday's episode could be a discussion in of itself.
Yep, and I agree with you also there. I know you called me while I was at work and you mentioned that. You said, yeah, we need to talk about this separately. And at that time, just so y'all know, I was a little behind in my episodes. So I had to catch up real quick. Let's see. Then I have another new category for you. I called this the oddest scene, oddest unbelievable scene that happened. And I also labeled, why did they do that? Same scene, Jordan thinking that she is pregnant. Um, I don't know what's going on here, or why they think Curtis needs so many children, or why Curtis needs all these children at one time. But that one, it made me ponder. So that to me was the oddest, weirdest scene. And why did they do that scene? All right, Brandon, do you agree with that, or do you have a different one? Since this was just a week of all sorts of things.
Don't worry, mother. I'm sure it'll be Sid Will's kid.
Oh, it probably will be Sidwell's kid.
But no, I mean, I thought that was definitely interesting, especially as she just had the pregnancy test in her bag, all big bulky box. As the camera repeatedly just zoomed on into it, and Curtis is all of a sudden very concerned about the health of Jordan and her kidney screening that she does. I believe they said every week,
Well, I don't think it's every week, but
every week,
maybe
every
month.
month.
Yeah, every month maybe, but as often. Yeah,
But he just now remembered that.
yeah, I know, I know. So yes, so that will be interesting to see later. For fast forward scenes, I didn't have any this week. Did you, Bram?
No,
All right, I did have a missing scene though, and that was actually Sonny and Eddie A. Turner being together. It was implied, but you didn't know that they were. She was just looking for an earring. All right, Fran, did you have any missing scenes of the week?
definitely that. We kind of went from them having secret plans against each other to bumping into each other and having Rick run interference last week to now they're together, sort of, but they agree it can't happen again, but they have a whole secret safe place for this to happen again. I'm a little confused.
I know, in the safe places upstairs in Charlie's. Who knew?
Where Christina's going to
Eh,
stay.
where Christina's going to stay. Yes. All right. And I've got to welcome back. So, welcome back, Ned. Um, we saw a lot of people this week, so I should be welcoming back more, but Ned is the one who stands out above all. All right, Brandon, is there another welcome back that I need to address?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, and I've got a goodbye to Liesel and to Delilah. All right, and Brandon, that is all I have. What about you?
I will say we had one temporary actor this week.
Oh yeah, we go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so we had a temporary councilman, Ezra Boyle.
Yes, we did. We did. And actually, I didn't think he did so bad. What did you think?
I don't think he did bad, but I will say that this gave me a better appreciation for our regular actor for him.
Actually, same here. I would agree with that too.
And I can't tell where exactly they're going with his character, but he has a soft spot for Laura now.
Yeah, he had a little sympathy for her. So yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing quite yet. And yeah, because like I said, we're not quite sure what's going on. Oh, something that did come out that we didn't mention earlier, even though it's been alluded to several times, is Cullen. Is that more and more people are aware that Cullen is actually the bad person out of the group and seems to be the head bad person per se for the WSB. And then, of course, he's taking direction or giving direction to Sidwell. We haven't figured out which is what going which direction yet.
Don't worry, I'm sure Charlotte's in charge of all of it.
Charlotte might be in charge of all of it, or at least the old Charlotte would be in charge of all of it.
Yes.
All right, everybody. We thank everybody for watching this week.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Have a great day, everybody.